Warriors, good evening. Hey, Sherry, are you still here? It looks like you were here half an hour ago. So, thank you for showing up so early. And I don't know who else is going to be here since I don't usually do lives on Saturday evening. Don't usually do lives in the evening period, right? So I did go on a live panel last night, and I thought, a really good show, and it is um controversial. It became controversial. Hey, Lily Eve 420, hi. um so it was on What's the Obsession, and it was discussing the 8-hour time gap from the time that the terrible events happened with the Idaho 4 and the first 911 call. And it was a 6-hour live. I was only on the panel for a couple of those hours, and I thought it was great. Honestly, I have not gotten through the entire thing. I still have about an hour to go. But it got to be really controversial. A couple of the panelists kind of got into it. And yeah, Kelly's amazing. She just like rides the storm, rides right through it. So cool. Thanks so much for hanging in there, Sherry. You're hardcore. Hey, Susan and Fred, Chicagoland. And yeah, I was watching her Watts video last night, the 6-hour one or some other older ones. Because yeah, lately she's put up a couple of 20-minute ones that are both really good. But honestly, I think that 6-hour one is really good. I've got 5 hours invested in it so far. I still have that 1 hour. I'm going to finish it tonight. I'm bound and determined. I'll have to watch the replay on that one. Well, I'd recommend double speed because it's so long. Yeah, so there was another live last night that I wanted to be on the panel, but that was fine. I was in the chat, and then I was going to have to leave that one early anyway to go over to the What's the Obsession one that I had planned. So the other one that I was watching prior to Kelly's was Dr. Latina. And she was going over the autopsy report for Trinity Backus, which was fascinating. That turned into a 3-hour live, so I did get to watch the rest of it this morning. Her older videos on Watts, oh my goodness, she's got so many. I liked the Latinas live last night. Yeah, it was really good. She's amazing too. We've got all these amazing content creators. It's so exciting, isn't it? So let me do my little disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation and hoping to open up a discussion. It's made specifically for YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. However, I like to approach things with more of an educational perspective. So I'm not here to entertain by any means. I'm here for my own education and anyone else who is feeling like they might gather and gain some education from this. Let's see. I watched about 3 hours on replay today, saw Dr. Latina too. Yeah, I think I saw you commenting in there, Fred Field. Yeah, like I said, good stuff, really good stuff. So I didn't want to do too long of a live tonight. I appreciate you guys so much coming on with me. And Kaz on Latina was awesome. And then Ara was on What's the Obsession. I love both Cass and Ara. They're great. And yeah, just lots of really good, intelligent conversation. So I wanted to talk about both of those cases. I wanted to talk about the Idaho 4 that's just ongoing. What about you guys? Trigger warning, please. If this is going to trigger you, please turn it down or something. I want to talk about this rumor. I don't know if this is founded, and I'd like to hear what the chat has to say. I have heard from a couple different sources, but none of them like rock solid, that Ethan's hamstrings were cut. Have you guys heard that? Like I'm thinking that it started with one of the social media profiles that is either the criminal defendant or somebody pretending to be the criminal defendant. I think that that's where it started. I don't know that it's real. I don't know that it's valid. So I'm curious what you guys might think about that. If you have any ideas about it, please share. Um, I also am really curious why they drove through Colorado, they being the criminal defendant and his father, when they left Washington State, which was, I believe it's been confirmed that the dad flew into Spokane on December 11th. And then they were caught on a camera in Colorado on a traffic cam that got their license plate. And that was on the 13th of December. And then on the 15th of December, they were going through Indiana because they got stopped twice. And then they got to their destination there in Pennsylvania. So I'm really curious why they drove through Colorado. So curious. Let me catch up with you guys. Susan says she learned a lot last night. I heard that as well. Oregon Outback. Hello. Can't remember where I heard that. And Susan Dodge says, I heard something about his male parts. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. I've not heard anything about that. That's pretty gross. They left the same day as the SWAT event. No, the SWAT event. Hey, Maud, thanks for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The SWAT event started on December 14th and then went into December 15th when the SWAT took out the guy with the same initials, KB, the Army vet, or was he a Marine? He was an Army vet, right? Fredfield says, I think I heard that too, but at my age, I don't remember. And Pixie Knicker says, I did hear that, but didn't know whether to believe it or not. Right. I'm still, you know how I am, you guys. I'm very skeptical about all information on, especially on the streets of YouTube. I think I said in one of my videos yesterday that I don't believe anything I see on YouTube. And, you know, I mean that in a sense that I don't buy anything, of course, just because I see it on a video. But I'm also that way with mainstream. I don't buy what mainstream is saying either. They might have been reporting their information accurately, but I don't think that they always get the accurate information. So, Marine, thank you, Maud. Yeah, that's important. Are you sure he was a Marine? So that would be really creepy then, with the sheath that was left behind on the bed next to Maddie. So, you know, all this time I've been thinking that that sheath was left there intentionally by the criminal defendant or perpetrator. If it was the criminal defendant. And it wasn't until today that I thought it could have been left there. Be ready, you guys. I'm not going to go down no rabbit hole, but it could have been left there by somebody planting it with his DNA on it. You follow? So all this time I've thought, oh, he left it there. He accidentally left some of his DNA in it. Now I'm thinking there's a possibility it could have been planted by somebody else. And then, of course, there's the possibility that he dropped it accidentally, right? That the perpetrator dropped it accidentally. So there's those three. Those are kind of the three options. Let's see. So until it's proven, I won't believe it. Exactly. And even when it's proven, I mean, you know, what we get in the media, what we see is still just the tip of the iceberg, really, in all reality, right? Amy, I was wrong. Oh, Army, I was wrong. Thank you. My glasses are kind of glaring with these lights. So I'm like, Amy, I was wrong. Where's Amy? I didn't see Amy up here. Okay. And Dr. Latina's first name is Amy. So I'm thinking, huh? Anyway, yeah, so he was in the Army. The is it Brent Copenbeck or something like that? Kopecker? I know it's something close to that. So and he was 36 years old, and he was potentially working in the IT department at the University of Idaho. I don't know that that's been confirmed either, but we do know that he was taken out by the SWAT team, and he lived kind of on the other side of campus from the criminal defendant. The criminal defendant lived in the Steptoe apartments that are like on the north side of campus, and it is actually student housing. And then the SWAT team guy was like 2 miles down the road on the other side of campus, and I think like right off of campus, like pretty much right across the street. And I forget the name of those apartments. I have that written down somewhere too. Anyway, I'm so sorry about my glasses. My goodness. I usually clean them before I do my lives. And good evening, and 16th like here. Ahoy, truth seekers. Oh, you're awesome. Caleb Lee, yes, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you feel so moved. I appreciate it very much. I'm trying to get this baby off the ground, and I feel like it's getting off the ground, and I'm really excited about it. So, Brent Kopaka, thank you, Mod. And McCary Poo says, hey, everyone. Hey, Justice, I agree that it was planted. But planted by who? Planted by the perp or planted by somebody trying to frame somebody? I mean, I thought it was planted by the perp trying to frame a Marine, or just trying to get the, a red herring to get the investigation distracted going down the wrong route, basically. That was my first thought about it, and that's kind of where I've remained this whole process. And again, then it was just today that I thought it could have been planted by anybody. So Brent Kopeka suffered from traumatic brain injury during Afghanistan. I know, isn't that so sad? It really kind of freaks me out that the SWAT team didn't give him more I don't know, TLC, crisis intervention. He's an Army vet. He fought for our country. He's got the PTSD. He's got the head injury, and they just take him out like that. I don't know. I mean, obviously I wasn't there. I don't know all the details. And Caleb Lee says, all these cases, beginning with Kylie's, have had little to no transparency. Yep, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And yeah, going over that, the autopsy report on Dr. Latina's show last night, there was some crazy stuff on there, you guys. Some really crazy stuff. Someone who has a beef with him, possibly a student. That's what defund the police is intended to do. Yeah, I am fully against defunding the police. I mean, even after seeing the video that came out last night at 7 p.m., I didn't want to talk about that, you guys, but we can. I saw it. I don't know who else saw it. Those police officers, my goodness, ex-police officers. Decorated Purple Heart Soldier. Thank you, Maud. Thank you for reminding me. I'm a little brain dead. This is why I don't do my videos in the evening, you guys. I'm just like totally chill, like I'm baked or something. I get a lot of exercise during the day. I'm pretty high energy during the day. So come evening, I'm just toast. And I did get a really nice long walk in today. Went to Costco with a couple of my kids. So that's always good. Oh my God, Costco on Saturday is actually not good. I forgot. I'm like telling the kids, I'm like, remind me never to come to Costco on a Saturday again. It's awful. It's a zoo. Okay. Provides mental health assistance to police on site. Well, yeah, there's a lot of mental health assistance with police is a double-edged sword, because police aren't allowed to have PTSD and then function as police officers. So, if you take mental health services, then that can deem you unfit for being a police officer. I mean, it's a fine line. And yeah, I mean, police are, like Army, they are cut out to do the work, and they live to do the work. And then Some of them get injured, some of them get screwed, some of them wind up fatalities. It's rough. It's really rough. I mean, the whole thing with the law enforcement, and what happened last night with the video being released of Tyree Nichols, of his beating on January 7th, and we all know he passed away on January 10th, beat by those 5 black police officers in Memphis. I don't know if there's been any like violent protests over the weekend, but that was what people were concerned about. People were concerned about non-peaceful protests, and hopefully that won't happen. Like with the whole George Floyd situation, almost all of the protests were peaceful. I think a couple of them got a little bit out of hand, to my knowledge, in Seattle and Portland. So I don't want anybody retaliating against good police officers because of those dirtbag police officers that hurt that beautiful young man. So horrible. What hurt me the most watching it was finding out that he was 80 yards from his house. Like, he was yelling for his mom. 28 years old. Absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. McCary Pooh says, horrific. Like we said before, police need policing. Some get a badge and a God complex with it. The majority of police officers are young, power-hungry men. I'm just going to say it straight up because I know this for a fact. It's better to have mature individuals and people that aren't power-hungry. But you get these young, power-hungry guys. Like, look at all the guys that were the police that worked on the Gabby Petito case. I mean, freaking horrible, 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 horrible. And they've all been promoted. We know that. But thank goodness that Gabby's parents sued the Moab Police Department because they were culpable. They completely mishandled the situation. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And they still haven't released one of the body cams from Gabby Petito's case, too. Ironically, it's the female park ranger whose body cam they have not released. And I've made public records requests for that, and they're not releasing it yet anyway. What was it that Paula Plunder had been making a public records request for years? And then she finally got it. Oh, I wish I could remember. If anyone remembers what that was, it was like about a year ago, and she just like blew away YouTube with whatever it was that she was able to finally get released. Why can't I remember? What was it? What was it? I hope somebody can remember. All right. Regarding that incident with those cops, there's more than meets the eye. Right. Those cops were like the Scorpion Squad, a special unit to fight gang violence. But they were like being basically like the mafia and shaking down the gangs, allegedly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in their trials. Sophia D says, not police. And Caleb Lee says, I am coding that these have discernment, understand what I am saying. I'm not sure that oh my goodness. Are you guys still there? I think you are. Caleb, I went to your channel. I'm trying to I'm trying to highlight. So let's see. I am coding. Those that have discernment understand what I am saying. So are you speaking in code? Is that what you're saying? And Sophia D says, you're misunderstanding what defund the police is. So maybe investigate more when you get a chance. Sophia, I know a lot about the defund the police. I've been very active the last few years. And, I don't want to get into like politics and stuff. Because I'm full supporter of the police, and I'm full supporter of restructuring the police too. So I don't want to get into an argument about that type of thing. And that's why I didn't want to bring up the thing from last night, but at the same time, I don't want to pretend that it doesn't exist either, because it's huge. It's a lot like George Floyd. It's a lot like Rodney King. If those officers that killed the young man were not Black themselves, I think that there would have been a lot of violence this weekend nationwide in many cities. And it's atrocious. And in some ways, it's kind of like worse, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, it's almost worse that these 5 officers are Black and that they did this to a Black man. It's awful. I mean, and race isn't even part of it. It's just awful that there's people abusing other people. There's people abusing their power. And when they have a badge and a gun and a license to kill, if not for those cameras, if not for the, what is it called? Like a sky cam? It's called like a street cop cam or something like that. Like that was the camera that really caught the most. The body cams didn't tell the story as well as the one that was like placed up on the light post. If you guys saw that one. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, thank you guys for caring. Thanks for caring about police reform. And yeah, I'm not wanting to have a discussion about that right now. I wanted to talk about the autopsy of Trinity Backus. I wanted to touch on a few of those issues with the horrible Idaho 4. Let's see. And she's tired. Say more if you want to elaborate so we can understand what you think is being left out. You need a huge monitor like Shan to read the comments. Yeah, I'm just not into technology. Shanda's really into technology. I'm just not. I mean, the fact that I, splurged on this awesome laptop was like a huge revolution for me. I'm not going to get any other gadgets. I'm low tech. I think I put that in my description of my channel. I'm low tech. I might have had to take it out because you only get like 1,000 characters or 1,000 words or something for the whole thing. I think it was 1,000 characters. Anyway, where are we at? Weird that they were charged with murder so fast. Usually it takes months and months. Well, see, Sophia, that's where, I feel like I see both sides. So I kind of feel like these police officers deserve to be fired. And at the same time, I feel like if they weren't Black, they would not have been fired so quick. I feel like they're being made an example of. They're being hung out to dry. They're not being protected the way police are usually protected. Yeah. I mean, look at Derek Chauvin and all those people. Like, anyway. So yeah, the police are between a rock and a hard place. What's messed up is people who abuse their power. Absolutely. Whether they're police officers or teachers or coaches or anybody in a position of power, like movie producers, I mean, it's just gross what people do when they feel like they can take advantage of other people. Screw them all, is what I say. Like, no, just get real, be reasonable. Police work and social work don't go hand in hand. Long story short, they're law enforcement not feeling enforcement like these 5. Well, I do have an opinion about that. I think that law enforcement need to be able to act as social workers as well, because they deal with a lot of like domestic violence and homelessness, and being a cop's not an easy thing. I mean, there's like the magic bullet. They take care of everything. And then you have these few rogue cops that go and do these awful things, and it makes headlines. And then all the other cops that are just like work-a-day heroes, in my opinion, and they're going to take the brunt of it, and they might get retaliated against. I was really concerned about cops across the country getting retaliated against over the weekend, like just innocent cops in random cities. I just hope stuff like that does not happen. What's scary to me is that Scorpion Squad, that I just don't think that they're like an isolated iceberg of the five of them. I think that their supervisors had to be aware of what was going on. I'm not buying that. So, I want the problems eradicated. I don't want the roots of the problems to not be eradicated. And it's a structural problem. All right, you guys. So we're already at 25 minutes. Let's get usually it takes months to charge white cops. Just saying. And Aaron Hicks says, Justice, do you still think the ex of Kaylee is involved? Point blank. Let's just like not beat around the bush, Aaron Hicks. I am really hung up on the photograph from, or that still shot from the surveillance camera number 3 in the back of the corner club. It's actually somebody who took their phone and took a picture of the computer monitor with that screenshot. And that's why it's kind of weird. And some people say, oh no, it's weird because it's like photoshopped. It's obviously photoshopped. And it's not photoshopped. It's kind of at a weird angle because somebody took a picture with their camera and snuck that image into the media, into social media. So who snuck it? Was that an employee at the corner club, or was it law enforcement that leaked it? Who leaked that photo and why? Were they hoping to get some information out into the public that they thought was being hidden? I wonder. So the fact that Jack D was talking to the girls at 1:30 about a couple hours before they were slain, and that's not been spoken about. I mean, now it's been spoken about, but he had alibi number 1 and then alibi number 2. One of those alibis being that he stayed in at his house all night. And then the other alibi being that he stayed in with his parents an hour and a half away in Coeur d'Alene. So neither of those are true. He was out at the bar until 1:30 at least. And then I'm thinking, so if you were awake at 1:30 out in the community, and then you went from there to being dead asleep and not able to respond to 9 phone calls and a text that started less than an hour later, to me, that's really quick to get from point A to point B and fast asleep. I mean, sure, some people fall asleep the second their head hits the pillow, but, normally 9 phone calls and a text is going to stir somebody. So I'm suspicious of him, to answer your question. I'm very suspicious why it was not put forth. And let's see. Hi, and thank you. Back to truth seeking. Heavenly Cloud says, since Xana and Maddie had parents on drugs, makes me wonder if they both were the target. Just saying. Yeah, I'm real curious to learn more about Madison's stepmother and her father. So it sounds like that there's been a lot of charges over the years with Xana's mother, and then Maddie's father and stepmom. They've only been married for about 2 years. So I think that Maddie's dad and stepmom's charges might have been from this last summer, either this past summer of 2022 or the summer before. I'm not sure. But we know that Xana's mother has had that defense attorney. This was the 4th time, and that defense attorney is still her power of attorney. And then that defense attorney allegedly was the defense attorney for Maddie's dad and her stepmom. And, that's just wrong. You just can't do that. You can't take somebody that's got all of that information from those sources and then put that same person on the accused case. I don't think that that's good. I don't think it's good for either. I don't think it's good from the standpoint of the families, and I don't think it's good from the standpoint of the defendant either. I think it's completely bogus. It's complete BS, and it needs to be resolved, in my humble opinion. So do what I say. Just kidding, of course. So, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Well, that's cute. Very funny. So, hey, Kale, thanks for being here. We got 2 mods in the house. That's awesome. So we're just getting started, and at the same time, I'm wanting to keep it really short. So we're already at 30 minutes. So the thing about the hamstrings being cut, you guys, how do we figure out if that's accurate or not? You know, somebody had done a video that I saw saying that 2 pages were taken out of the affidavit, and those 2 pages were all about Ethan's injuries. And I didn't see that in the affidavit. To me, it looked like a couple of names were taken out, and there was at least 1 blank page, and that it literally could have been like a paper jam or something like that, because the typed pages you had at the bottom of the first one, the number 1, and the bottom of the second one, the number 2, and the sentence at the bottom of the page of number 1 was continued at the top of the page of number 2, and there was a blank page in between. But then somebody did a video where they had 2 blank pages in between. So I'm not of the opinion that there was like a whole page or 2 missing. I'm of the opinion that, you know, obviously you can see that there's a couple of little things redacted, like people's names. But there is not a lot written about Ethan's injuries. So it is curious, especially since he was the only male and he was basically tall and strapping and athletic, that he would have been potentially more of a threat to the perpetrator. And, you know, I like to say perpetrator or perpetrators, because I'm 100% not convinced that we have one lone wolf, as I've been saying the last couple of days. So, yes, let's see, where are we at? Thank you for your opinion. My sentiments exactly. Well, thank you for being here. And Kathleen says, oops, I need to finish. The shooter killed unleaded himself. Just, I have no idea what you're saying. Okay. Heavenly Clouds, Macaripu, LOL, will eat them when you will not be around people. Cabbage makes me a little gassy. Okay, TMI. Macaripu says, I heard that too about Ethan sliced down the back of the legs. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Because how would that even occur? Again, that would make me think more than one assailant. I had to finish. The shooter killed, undeaded himself just to, I don't know what the BLIC is, Kathleen. I'm confused. Ethan had back of his legs cut. So what I've heard is that that they were sliced from like the tops of his thighs all the way down to the ankles. But I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's just an internet rumor or what. And there's so many internet rumors, and it's, you know, I just want to be careful of that. I don't want to fall into that trap, and I don't want to be disseminating misinformation or disinformation. I mean, disinformation is when you're intentionally putting bad information out there to try to muddy the water. I know I don't do that. I could, you know, be potentially misinforming somebody if I say something like the slicing from the backs of the legs. I don't know that that's true. So I just want to put that out there as a question. Like, why have I heard this so many times? Is it true? So just because I've heard it a bunch of times doesn't make it true. And just because I'm saying it as a question, especially, doesn't make it true. So please, you know, we need to like just be really careful of that. Other channels are speculating. People are commenting on wires could be getting crossed, and we don't need to be in the know of all aspects. Very good point. I think we have to wait for info to come from legal documents. Absolutely. Right, Drew Younger. How did he get behind him? Right. If it is true, then how on earth did they manage that? And I say they because immediately I think if that was what happened, that it would have to be more than one assailant, in my humble opinion. So, Jenny Pooh, happy birthday. Yes, happy birthday, Jenny. That's so nice. I love the little decorations for the birthday wish. At Circle K, a shooter killed 3 people by my house. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kathleen. This was just today. Oof. It's awful. It's just crazy that we have to, look out for these things. Annie Ruler says the alleged close family or friend of FBI agent that leaked day of arrest said the hamstrings were sliced, but that is the only place I'd heard it from. Thank you, Miss Annie Ruler, for pinning that down. That's awesome. So yeah, we have no idea then. Right. He would have to get behind him. Be well, stay safe. I keep sending my chat when I'm not finished yet. I heard that too, but I don't know where I heard it though. Yeah, I know. Isn't that annoying when your chat sends when you're not ready to send it and you can't edit your chat? And maybe he was lying, Kale. Yeah, I think that there's so much misinformation and disinformation. All of those fake profiles, or even the profiles that the criminal defendant made himself. We can't trust any of that information. I mean, he could have been putting fake information out there to try to mix things up. Oh, that's cute. Jay says she wore a raspberry beret. Funny. Very, very funny. I think more than one person was there at the Idaho fort. Ethan is strong and young. Makes me think that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about Trinity Backus's autopsy report for a second. Before we wrap up. So they did that 3-hour live last night, and then they're going to be doing a part 2, I believe, sometime this next week. And I'm looking forward to that. It was really interesting. It did not sound like Dr. Latina was at all convinced that things were making sense from what she was seeing in the autopsy and what her thoughts were. You guys know on that autopsy, there was no address. There were no family members. 0. Remember on Kylie Rodney's autopsy, they only had her mother listed. And they have 4 open lines, at least 4. It might even be 5. And nobody was on Trinity's. And she's 16 years old. Why wouldn't her mother's name be on there? Why wouldn't her father's name be on there? She also has a little half-sister. No one's name was on it. They ID'd her by her driver's license, not by fingerprints, not by dental records, not by DNA. And those are what you have to, a driver's license, Dr. Latina said, is only a presumptive identification. You still have to have one of those 3. Did I miss something here? Let's see. Trinity, what a shame, died due to exposure to cold weather. No one checks on this girl. Horrible. And, it just didn't add up. It said that it was deemed accidental, and then it was deemed that she froze to death, that it was overexposure. She left the house in pajama pants, they said. And she was found in cargo shorts. Did you guys know that? That's what it says in the autopsy, cargo shorts. So remember too, the Auntie Ashley, I like to say fake Auntie Ashley, fake Auntie suspect number 1, was literally wearing the robe that she said that Trinity was last seen in. And then it was the father of Trinity, I think, or somebody was in the house speaking with Auntie Ashley suspect number one the next day, and she was wearing the robe, the very same robe that she said that Trinity had ran out of the house in. So it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Okay. That autopsy made more questions than answered. Her height was different too. Right. I didn't catch what they said about her height because she was 5'9". She was even taller than Kylie. Kylie was 5'8", but then in her autopsy it said 5'5". So yeah, did you catch, Drew, what the height in the autopsy said? What a shame. I meant not same, right. So yeah, if anybody knows what it said her height was, I mean, because that's really tall, 5'9". They had her height wrong, like Kylie's. When did she change clothes? Exactly. How did that happen? Found in a weird position, right? Found in a very unsettling position, in my opinion. Thank you for bringing that part up, Drew Younger. That was really creepy. Hey, Sifa, how are you? And where was the license? At Aunt's most clothing was off. Oh, it said she was 5'7". So why are both of their autopsies exactly 2 inches off? That is so weird. I have it right here. I can look. Cool. Prosser Reservoir shrunk Kylie. Well, you know how that salt water is, and I'm joking because, it's fresh water, right? Grr. Okay, you guys, let's go to the winding down part. So quickly, it's just at the 41-minute mark, and that's about how long I'm hoping to get my lives to be, actually. I've been going way over an hour in the last few. So thank you so much for being here. And it's the end of the day. It's 8 p.m. It's the 28th, Saturday night. Enjoy your night. Have a lovely evening with your friends and family, and taking care of yourself and eating well, staying hydrated. Maybe do a little bit of yoga or stretching, get some exercise if you haven't yet. From my point of view, NCSO and suspects, all of them should be questioned. Well, I totally agree with Nevada County Sheriff's Office. Trinity Backus's stepdad, Deputy Christopher Stanio, worked on Kylie Rodney's case, and then he allegedly worked on Trinity Backus's case too, which I don't think that is ethical with him having been divorced from her mother. And does anyone know what was reported as the last time that the mother says she saw Trinity? Because I was under the impression that she said that she saw her earlier that day, but was it earlier in the week? Because it happened, I think, on a Wednesday. But yeah, back to what Caleb Lee was saying about, from your point of view, they're all suspects in the law enforcement. Were atoms of Trinity, were the bottoms of Trinity's feet scraped up and dirty? I don't think they were, Annie Ruler. Did you see the live last night with Dr. Latina? I don't think they were. I feel like she went to boyfriend's car and things went south. Just a guess. Had shorts in his car. Explains no scent for the dog. Yeah, the no scent for the dog is very disturbing to me with Trinity's case and with Kylie Rodney's case, because I really believe in dogs. They don't lie. And if they don't catch a scent, there's a reason that they don't catch a scent. It's because it's not there. So Freedom of Information Act, any and all information before they scrub it. Right. Yes, I know. I've tried to get some of the information. Jenny Pooh says, thank you. All right, you guys. Thanks to you. Freshen up on Trinity case. Mind-boggling. I know. And I feel like I need to reboot on Kylie Rodney case too, because I think that needs to happen. So I'm going to try to do a live tomorrow evening around the same time and keep it short like tonight's. how flushed my cheeks are. It's because I was out walking in the sun and I had a hat on, but I knew I was getting some sun. Um, anyway, let's hope to reconvene then. Same bat channel, same bat time. Um, need to watch today. Oh, today you're going to watch the Dr. Latinas from last night. You know, again, it's almost 3 hours long. So if you're trying to watch other stuff too, you might want to watch it on time and a half or even double speed. And because they were doing a lot of logistics too, there was a lot of downtime as they were trying to get things set up because it was kind of a first, I think, for the setup that they had. So you know, but yeah, you got to be patient with people. There's always going to be the logistics, and I'm just happy, so happy. I'm so happy that she's doing it, and so happy that she has that panel. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Like I would be happy to be a part of that panel, but I'm also totally happy not being a part of that panel. Like they got it. They don't need, you know. It can be hard when people are all trying to talk over each other, and that did happen in Dr. Latina's video last night. It also happened in the Watch the Obsession video, and you know, par for the course. It's like, you know, take turns, but you know, it's like we can't really raise our hand. I guess we could, but a lot of people don't have their face, they just have their little icon. So that makes it harder. The feet were mildly dirty. Thank you, Jenny Poo. No cuts or scrapes on the palmar side of the feet. Oh, what do you need to tell us, Sifa? Go for it. I got you. I see it right here. Before we wrap up, um, her father and grandparents want me to gather a bunch of photos of her. I made a community post where you can upload whatever photos you have of her. They will be very grateful. Oh, how interesting. I've taken a bunch of screenshots of some really nice photos that I've seen of her on the internet, but I would imagine that they would have those. I know I am very flushed, heavenly clouds. I'm very pale skinned. I do not get along with the sun, and I got a lot of sun. I had a baseball cap on, but it wasn't enough. Oh, I look very healthy. Thank you. I feel very healthy. You know, I have to get my exercise every day. I have to. My mod is asking Sifa Kylie's family. No, I think he's talking about Trinity's family, right? Did I highlight that one? Let me highlight that one. So yeah, I think Sifa is talking about Trinity's family. Is that accurate, Sifa? Father and grandparents want a bunch of photos. I know there's such a shortage of photos of beautiful Miss Kylie Rodney, huh? So yeah, Sifa says Trinity's. Thank you, Sifa, for helping Trinity's family. Yeah, I'm so crushed for these people. So crushed for the victims, so crushed for their families. Trinity's dad did not seem that way, and I'm not sure what you're referring to as far as that way. Um, all right, you guys. Oh, her mom won't give them any? Oh. You know, I know there's a lot of issues with the paternity, I believe. It's none of any of our business, so I don't really want to say anything more than that. But you know, I mean, anybody who loves another person as a family member believes that they're a family member. Um, that's pretty disgraceful when there's a tragedy like that. Sifa, that is awesome. You can do that for them. It's called Memory Hole. Oh, is that like a Oh, he is the real father. Okay. This was the one that they were saying wasn't, but then maybe that's because that's part of the fighting, right? Cuz yeah, I thought that there was like a argument about paternity and that there was a paternity test or something, but it's just so sad. I wonder about the mom of Trinity and the fake aunt just saying absolutely, and the fake aunt's boyfriend that was there and the roommates that were there that aren't mentioned. Yeah, it's a very suspicious situation. So yeah, let's all try to follow up with the part 2 that Dr. Latina is going to do on the Trinity Backus. And tomorrow night, I plan to talk some about Kylie. So probably the Idaho 4 and Kylie. So you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you here tomorrow, hopefully. Oh, she lied about it and he couldn't go to the funeral. Please upload whatever photos you have. Okay, yeah, I'll email them to you, Sifa. So sad. Wouldn't let him go to the funeral. That's just terrible. All right, you guys, I'm going to hit my end stream button. Good night. Peace out. Sending you light, sending you love. And thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.